Am I speaking to Nigel Farage's worst nightmare? Ooh, so Gorton and Denton by-election, honestly, historic by-election. People often think by-elections, schmy-elections, why do they matter? Will they ever change anything? But this is actually maybe about reforming stops in their tracks. They were in Wales not that long ago. Everyone said it was in the bag for them. Plaid Cymru won. Also, is this about Labour finally getting replaced, maybe with the Green Party? So, I mean, big high stakes, 26th of February. The clock is ticking. I'm delighted to be speaking to the Green Party candidate, Hannah. Hey, Hannah, how you doing? I've just been talking to you. You've been doing some plastering.
I have, yes. I've just come into what is, I think, a broom cupboard in college. They've very kindly assigned me this area to come and have a quick chat with you, and then I've got to get back and plaster another wall.
Well, I'm delighted you've taken a bit of time out of the plastering. Just before, because we're going to talk about,
I think I
obviously,
know what you're going to say.
I don't even know what we're going to do. Right, basically, you've attracted an army of what I could only describe as truthers. Who were firstly going, because you're a plumber. So I want you to talk about that, just to do background. But they're going, she's not really a proper plumber. She's not really, and all this kind of stuff. And then she's not a proper, then claiming she's not a real plasterer because you're actually in training to do plastering. Just tell us, the truthers are out there.
Yes,
What's your response?
I will be happy to tell them and assure them that yes, I am a plumber. So it's something since I've done since I sort of left education at 16. Like I've always worked other jobs alongside doing that, like a lot of us have. Yeah, and then a few years ago, I went back to college and did an apprenticeship with a housing trust to get my gas safe qualifications. That was another thing they can't get their head round. So not only am I a plumber, I'm also yeah, a gas engineer. And then for a long time, like, I've been dabbling in bits of plastering, but just couldn't ever really get much better because it is an absolute skill. And so, yeah, I've come to college now to do a course. There's a massive skills shortage of tradespeople generally, but plasterers especially. So I'm here skimming all day, every day. Yeah, and so I'm just going to set that record straight. I don't know how else to do it. If I put a picture out, they don't like it. If I don't put a picture out, they don't like it. I'm like, do I just get all these people on X to come to college and watch me foster? I don't know.
I mean, I think, to be honest, even that, but they probably say you were CGI'd or something. You're not, you're
Yeah, I
hot.
was AI. It was a deep fake.
Yeah, exactly. Why just like why is it important to have people who, for example, are plumbers in Parliament? Because a lot of people who work in Parliament are worked in the city, maybe they're lawyers, kind of those sorts of jobs, kind of quite very well paid kind of jobs, which are kind of dominate the British elite, I guess. Why is it important to have people who, I guess, keep the country ticking type jobs, keep the country running?
Yeah, I think there's a few reasons, and I don't I think whatever job you do, if it's a job, it's needed. That's great. So people in Parliament who might be from the city or might be from another background, like that's fine. But the problem is it's disproportionate at the minute. So we're too overrepresented by people who don't do the types of jobs that the rest of us do. So I think that is something we need to talk about. But we missed all the experience. We missed all the experience that people like me have. Tradespeople is one example, but you could pick loads of different jobs where we're actually on the ground, like dealing with things and seeing things. And if you take Gordon and Denton, that has got a higher than average rate of fuel poverty in the constituency. And so that is an example of where tradespeople like me and all the brilliant people who've come before me and been doing it for decades have had the on the ground experience and have been saying, we live in some of the leakiest homes in Europe, we need to sort it out. Now, these people are experts in their field. I'm an expert. It takes years to do this training, but no one's listening to us and no one has a way of feeding into that system because, as I've found at a local council level, the systems are quite hard to access. I think they are designed really to keep a lot of us out in the way that they're set up. But I think, as well as that, a lot of us in our roles, like I come into contact with people in their homes all day, every day. Like I really see how people are living and I see how they're struggling. And again, we just need the people who are making decisions to be from the backgrounds where real life is actually happening.
I'm a plastic northerner. I sold out my Manc roots. I'm afraid to say, but because bar the constituencies near where I grew up in the centre of Stockport, and it includes Levenshulme, which I had friends growing up from Levenshulme. What a lot of people that community has always been Labour. You could not count the votes, but weigh the votes for the Labour Party. Now, a lot of people whose mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, great grandfathers, great grandmothers voted for Labour Party, they might look at the Greens and go, "Do you know what? I don't like the government, but aren't these kind of muesli eating, sandal wearing, knit their own jumpers type of middle class do gooders?" I know it's a cliche, but that's what some people have in their mind. And I think that stops some people voting for the Green Party. So, how would you respond to that?
Well, for a start, I don't like muesli and I don't wear sandals. I have awful feet. So let's bust those myths. No, I totally know what you're saying, of course. Like, and we can all have we can all make judgments about any political party. But I know from being in the party for 3 years now, like I do think it has totally changed. And I think I don't, yeah, I like to acknowledge the work that the people in the Green Party have been doing for decades to get us to this point where, as well as really talking passionately about the environment, we talk about social justice. But I do think people are noticing now that we are the next party that really is sticking up for working people.
Um, Labour say this is between them and Reform, and that if you vote for the Greens, I love the face already, amazing. If you vote for the Greens, you'll let Nigel Farage and his, stooge candidate, I guess, the Matthew Goodwin, a former Liberal academic, GB News TV presenter from Hertfordshire, he will then win with the politics of fear. So what do you say to that Labour argument?
This is where it really frustrates me because I think this is where I feel that like snobbery from politicians about them looking down at us because they just seem to think that we're stupid, and that we're not intelligent enough to be able to see what's going on. And what is going on now is that Labour have absolutely blown it. At the last general election, I think it was their last chance really to convince people to give them another go. And since then, they've just gone back on so much of the stuff that they've promised. And I know and I understand why people tactical vote. I've done it myself and I get it. I really do get it. But I think now what is really clear is everybody is so fed up of Labour's only strategy being vote Labour to keep the Tories out. And now it's vote Labour to keep reform out. And it's like, how about you actually just do something to make people vote for you? Like, it's not enough just to keep using these threats that are going on in the background. Like, if the Labour Party actually did something meaningful to make people's lives better, people would vote for them. But the strategy is vote us to keep them out. And for as long as people keep doing it, and I've done it, they won't change that strategy. And what people are telling us now is the only way that they are going to learn and that they are going to go toward a fairer society is if the Greens win this seat.
At the last election, a year and a half ago or so, about half the local voters voted for the Labour Party. What are you finding? You went on the doorstep, well, a huge number of people, hundreds of people. It's one of the biggest canvasses I think I've ever seen, and knocked on doors. What did you find with people who voted Labour? Because you need to win a lot of those over, because obviously half of them went to Labour last time. What are you finding, what they're saying when they hear the Green Party?
So one of the first things that absolutely astounded me at the weekend is that how many people, one, already knew who I was, which was absolutely bananas, and two, would just the first thing they were saying is not doing that again. And it was like I'm not even having to have the conversation. It's just like not voting Labour again. I don't want reform. So it's the Greens. But I think also like what I do really get is I think people really know about me. I work my arse off. Like I work so hard, and that again is what a lot of people really, really admire. If people don't necessarily agree with you on everything, which I think happens to all of us at any political party, but one thing that people, especially from really working class communities, really respect is people who put a shift in. And that is what it's not just me, like Greens up and down the country do that because we have to work even harder to even get elected. Again, in this system that doesn't favour smaller parties. So we've already had to prove that we are willing to put the work in to get elected. And then when we're in there, like we really work hard. And again, I think people really see that now.
It's interesting because you are now odds-on favourite, according to the bookies, to win. Maybe we'll come on to that about the complacency, which I know as a fact has been driven by internal polling data and also the reception on the doorstep. So I know that's why the odds have shifted. Um, whatever happens on election day, a significant number of your local community are going to vote for the Reform candidate. That's just odd. That's nailed on. The question is whether they win or not. Why is that? And what's your message to some of those people who are clearly angry? They're not happy with the way things are going. That their anger is going towards Reform. They're not going to the Green Party.
Yeah, I think, and I had some really good conversations over the weekend about this too. And I'm somebody who I think a lot of people will resonate with this. Like, I don't live in my little green bubble. Like, my life is full of loads of different people. A lot of my friends, like, we do not agree on a lot of stuff, and we have really sometimes quite difficult discussions. But I really, really understand why people feel the way that they do now, and why Reform seems like a really good option. Like, it's a really slick marketing operation that's been aimed at people like us who are knackered, people who can't put food on the table, like can't make ends meet, like their lives are getting worse. Like, along comes this really shiny idea that seems to make sense on the surface and it's believable. And so I understand why people think that that is a good option, but as I've found, it really doesn't take long to kind of dismantle some of that. And I had a couple of conversations with people where we were talking about immigration, and we disagreed on stuff. And I'm really clear that if somebody is racist or hateful or bigoted, like, I absolutely have no problem saying something about that. But it was a conversation about immigration, and I understood why he was angry. And as soon as he was like, "You're not gonna like this," and I was like, "No, I'm probably not gonna like it." And I think we disagree, but I get it. I understand what you're telling there. Like, we disagree on a lot of stuff, but actually our shared common ground is we both care about the NHS. We're both worried about homeless people on our streets. We both really care about veterans who come back from wherever they've been sent, willing to put their life on the line, and then are just dropped here with not much support and not much recognition of what they've done. Like, they're people that I know in my life that I know get absolutely screwed over by this system. So there's a lot of shared anger. But I know when I was becoming political and I was seeing which party am I going to join, I was like, I need to give my time to the one that is actually going to make me better and works in the interest of people like me. And a lot of people just don't know about Reform. And to be fair, a few years ago, like, if I wasn't political now, like, I could see what they were saying as being believable. Like, people don't know that they're funded by billionaires. Like, they don't know where all their money comes from. And once people realise that, and they realise that Reform are not going to make their life any better, then they're starting to think, yeah, okay, that's interesting. It's funny actually, because they've been college this week. They're all like plastering, and the group. Sorry, you can hear the boiler.
No, no,
The group, the group chat has now been renamed Green Plastering. So I was like, but yeah, I do just think a lot of people out there, like, are struggling, and feel really lost, and they want to be listened to, and we all know how that feels. And this is why we are getting out in our thousands to get out and have those conversations with people, because people deserve to be listened to, and that's what we can do.
Couple of final things, because you need to get back to plastering. A large number of people in your constituency are Muslim, and I think so many British Muslims have felt like they've been treated as voting fodder for the Labour Party for so long. And, there's everything from Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people, which not just Muslims care about. Obviously, neither of us are Muslim, and we both care passionately about opposing that crime of historic proportions. But, they've suffered institutional Islamophobia. They're much more likely to suffer from poverty, bad housing, unemployment, all those sorts of things. But they might not look at the Green Party as their obvious natural home, many of them. What's your message to those Muslim voters?
I think it's to recognise that somewhere like Greater Manchester, where different communities are different and we absolutely have different struggles. Like, I acknowledge all the time that my life, of course, is so much easier in so many ways because I'm white. And but I know that actually we have quite a lot of shared struggles, and the media is absolutely intent on trying to make us divided and feel like we're completely different. But I know that I probably understand, like, more of the things that our Muslim communities are going through in terms of insecure housing, because a lot of us have lived like that. So there's those little things that I think, like, we do really have in common, and I want people to know that the things that we have in common, I am absolutely shouted about, and the things that we don't have in common, like, I will absolutely commit to being a vocal person in Parliament to say, these things don't affect me, but I still really care about them, and I want that to be on the
Yeah.
table. I met with a group called Rosebud, and they're like up and down the country. And it's a group. It's like a Muslim women's group, and I went to like this like workshop that they were running. It was amazing, and like it was really interesting because I learnt loads. And of course, like I say, I acknowledge like my life was a lot easier in a lot of ways, but we had so much in common with each other. And I just thought that if you read certain bits of the media, you would think that me and these women like have absolutely nothing in common. But I was like, wow, like we're so much more than a lot of things. Our backgrounds might be different, but we really are united in trying to fight the far right and reform.
And finally, I mean, it's such a short campaign, and I think Labour have pushed the date to make it such a short campaign because they've got, you know, even though there's a massive backlash against them, which is putting it mildly, but they dominated this community for so long, so they have the kind of on the ground operation and all the rest of it. You've got a lot of catching up to do. You've got to knock on a lot of doors. And for those who don't know, that means finding where the support is so they can, on polling day, get people to come out and vote. But also the undecided voters who need conversations. Now, unless you get lots of people to knock on doors, it's not going to happen. But a lot of people, they listen to this and go, I'd love to do it, but I'm kind of terrified. You always get this, people who've never knocked on a door. And of course, everyone's there. But a lot of people, they just can't get over that. So they're thinking, I really want to help, but I just can't imagine knocking a door and having a conversation with people. It's intimidating. What's your message to those people?
Firstly, I understand because I did that for a long time. Like I'm quite a confident person. Like I will chat to anyone and everyone, but there is something a bit intimidating about knocking on someone's door in their own home and trying to have a conversation about politics. Like we're taught not to talk about politics, so to do it with a stranger on their turf can feel intimidating. However, I do this like most weekends, either where I am campaigning in my local party or up and down the country, and it's very, very rare that I have had any kind of hostile or awkward interaction. You do get people who disagree with you. I get that. I'd have people where they are saying stuff that is incredibly problematic, and I've just ended it and said, "We're not carrying on this conversation. Like, see you later," and then I've just left it. But the brilliant thing about now is how many people are out. Like, it is honestly unbelievable. We had over 500 people on Saturday. A similar number had come on Sunday. So you're all out in groups. Like, you'll be with someone who's done it before. Greens traveling from everywhere to come and give us a hand. And there's just this like shared kind of, there's this shared solidarity and having a go at something new. And the feeling that you get when you walk away from a conversation and someone's like, do you know what? Yeah, I think I'll think about it. Oh, I might vote Green. You're like, that lets you off in the confidence from there on. But there's loads of people who are in this boat. There's loads of people who are coming who've not done it before. So we're just encouraging everybody because you're right. Like we are. Oh, I hate gambling, but we are the bookies' favourite to win. But it's not in the bag. It's absolutely not in the bag. That is dependent on us. Keep doing what we're doing. Keep having those conversations. Like there's loads of literature that needs delivering. So people can come and give us a hand with that. Like maybe have a go at delivering and then do some door knocking. But I think once you get here and once you realise that people are just bad and fed up and frustrated, like they're people that we have a lot in common with. And so that's mainly what door knocking is about now. It's just going and listening to people.
Yeah, and again, I think anyone who's never done it before, I think the first thing you realise is actually most people just actually really appreciate the opportunity to be listened to. They're kind of like, oh, someone wants to come in here, what I got to say. And I think also people think, oh, I need an encyclopedic knowledge of politics. You really don't. And often it's about asking people what their issues are and making sure that's fed back in and that they're listened to. So anyway, just an FYI. Hannah, what an honour to chat to you with your unbelievably busy schedule. This is it's a historic by-election. I'm going to say it. I'm going to put it out there. Put my historian hat on. So obviously everyone knows where I stand in this. I'm very excited about it. So I think if people haven't canvassed, do get involved. We'll share the link so you can sign up and then do that. Share the video, press like, subscribe, leave your comments, leave your thoughts. But Hannah, fingers crossed, delighted to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will see you all very soon, hopefully. Bye.